Hi, I'm Chad, owner of Collect Co. here in Tennessee, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about a collection we recently purchased. But first, if you're finding us for the first time, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or anywhere this video has been shared, I please ask that you subscribe to our channel and definitely find us on Facebook because that's where we post most about our newest arrivals. We are record buyers, and the reason I'm doing this video is to tell you about one of the greatest collections we've ever purchased. And if you like buying records, you can follow this channel to find out more about the kind of records we're buying, where we buy them, and what they are. And then you can also tune in and watch our live events. So all of our records are shown and sold first live on Facebook, which we simulcast it to YouTube as well, as long as the technology works that we have. So if you subscribe to our page, you're going to get a lot of opportunities to see and buy some really cool records. So today I'm filming this on Sunday night, and you're going to be watching it throughout the week, hopefully, as a promotion for a sale we're going to be doing on Thursday night, May 19th. And Thursday night is going to be the big event. We also have record sales scheduled for Tuesday and Wednesday, which we're going to be showing lots of other really good records. But Thursday night is the main event. It's like, let's get ready to rumble. Boxing match. You get what I'm saying. It's going to be a big night. Mostly because we've got stuff like this from this Birmingham Collection. And the Birmingham Collection is what we're officially call it. We all have these names: the Knoxville Metal Collection, the Birmingham Collection, the Fred Goodwin Collection. It's just something that helps our customers and you viewers know what we're talking about, because we document pretty well where we go out and buy this stuff, so y'all can follow with us. But we run a lot of ads advertising we buy records, and we got a message one day and said, I have over 20,000 albums, and I have stuff from the 50s through the 90s. And what gets me is when people say 90s, I'm like, okay, well, did they buy maybe one or two albums in the 90s? If so, that's big, but is their collection 90s heavy? And we kind of lost communication with this guy. He was ready to sell, but not really sure how to sell. People follow our Facebook channel. They're amazed at how much we buy every week and how much we sell. They kind of watch the market right now. They may have not been heavy into buying lately, and they're shocked at these prices and the demand for vinyl. So, of course, me, 20,000 records, I'm going to keep it on my radar. So I followed back up with him about a month ago, and I said, hey, are you ready to sell? And he still was on the fence. So I had to drive down there just in my Tahoe, not really expecting to buy 20,000 records, but I told him, I said, if I drive down there, hopefully I can bring back something. And sure enough, his collection was every bit of what he said. I walked down into the basement, and there it is. Well, his walls are lined with memorabilia, posters, autographs, and just, shelves and shelves, walls and walls of records, as y'all have seen from pictures. And we cut a deal that day on a few, so we didn't know how to proceed. He don't want to sell everything, which is something I see. Sometimes I see this. Usually people are ready to sell everything, or they're ready to sell a little bit. He was ready to sell most of it. For example, we went to a certain section, Nirvana. Everything's in alphabetical order, and I was like, I'd really like to purchase these today. And he was like, well, I want to keep Unplugged. And I pulled out the copy of his Nirvana Unplugged, and it was a white vinyl OG. And I was like, well, that's unfortunate, because this is a first pressing, and my customers would drool just to know that they're getting even an opportunity to buy this. But it's understandable. He still loves and appreciates music just like us, so he wanted to hang on to a few things. We went to the Rush section, one of my favorite bands. And knowing he had albums from the 90s, I was looking for Clockwork Angels and Counterparts and Roll the Bones, and he had Clockwork Angels sealed, and that's how we went through. So the first time I was there, I only purchased 3 crates. That sale has already happened. So if you're just tuning in and you're finding out about this collection, here's the good thing. We've got tens of thousands of more to sell, And let me name off some of the artists that's already gone that you may have missed out on, but I'm going to show you some of the stuff that is to come. And we still hadn't purchased it all. I'll get to that part later. We've already sold Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy. We sold a sealed copy of Gish. We sold an original Siamese Dream. When I say original, it was a black vinyl, but it was still a 90s pressing, not a reissue. We had Van Halen Balance. We had Van Halen Different Kind of Truth. We had Tool, Anima. We had a couple copies of Tool Undertow. I don't think they were OG pressings, but one of them was pressed in the 90s. Nirvana, we had the original blue vinyl swirl of Incesticide. Rush, like I said, we had most of the Rush discography. He only kept 2112 and Moving Pictures. So that's what happened. We'd go to an artist and he's like, I want to keep, Moving Pictures. I want to keep 2112. I still enjoy listening to those. I was like, well, that's understandable. Those are Moving Pictures, one of the greatest albums of all time. So, but he turned loose to some of the other ones, like, Signals and Power Windows. Red Hot Chili Peppers. We had Sealed Californication. He kept a couple Red Hot Chili Peppers. Some I had never had before. Metallica. We had Load and Reload and Ride the Lightning OG. And what was something else? Something pretty special with Metallica. I've already forgot. There's been so many. Neil Young. He sold millions of albums. What's so special about that? He had Neil Young albums into the 90s that we've never seen, like Neil Young Unplugged and Mirror Ball, the album he did with Pearl Jam. Bob Seger, so getting into some of the 70s artists. Bob Seger, he had some tough ones to find, like Brand New Morning and Back in 72, copies we've never seen in good condition. This guy had them. Tom Petty, once again, albums into the 90s. I'm going to show you here in a minute. He's got an original Tom Petty's Greatest Hits. Extremely rare. That was the first batch. Since then, we've been back and we filled up a 16-foot box trailer full of records. And this was part 2, okay? So we've already had a sale and we've already sold some more. That includes, we had Marilyn Manson originals, OGs. We had Matchbox 20. We had Live, Throwing Copper. Just some insane stuff that we never see in collections. We buy, as y'all well know, for our faithfuls that watch us week after week, we purchase hundreds of thousands of records and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of records a year. New vinyl, all the way up to newest releases, to storage lockers that we found in Knoxville, Tennessee, full of records. So, just we buy in mass quantities. We get sometimes the worst stuff you've ever seen, and then sometimes we get lucky and find these collections that are just unbelievable. So there's that. So this last haul is, we've already sold a fraction from this last haul. I'm going to show you, let's see, I did 16. These are 32 records that were just posted on Facebook. Like I said, I'm filming this Sunday night, so the official ad and post just went live on Facebook, and I took pictures of 32 records. I'm going to go through these, not in great detail because I just pulled them from the crates to image. These have not been cleaned yet. They have not been inspected. I don't know if this is a first press, second press. We have found very few. So I pick up some things from this collection, and I'll show you some here in a minute. And I'm like, there's no way this is an OG. And, you pick it up. If you've handled as many records as I have, you'll pick it up and you're like, no, this isn't 180 gram. This is an original. So most of these I can guarantee you before I even look at a label or a catalog number or a matrix or the dead wax that these are originals. There may be a second press, but maybe still from the 90s or 2000s in here. So let's get to it. Here's just a couple other quick stats. So this guy has around 20,000 albums. What's in the back crated up is about 2/3 of them. There's another third of the collection still at his house that we're hoping to go get it sometime next week or later this week. That is everything probably as far as an alphabet, because we started with the Z's and working our way back to the front. A to like H. So we stopped at H, I believe. We got Hendrix, but there's some stuff he pulled out later in the alphabet that he still hadn't gone through yet, so we hadn't got to any of the Kiss yet. Grateful Dead, the Beatles, I remember seeing AC/DC albums, you know, the ones up through the 90s. Stuff like some 90s artists that's still in there, like Bush and the Cranberries and Black Crows and Counting Crows. Just wait. Trust me. You want to follow this collection closely. It's going to be amazing. And everything's for sale. I'm trying not to keep too many. I've only kept a couple, and they haven't been anything from the 90s. It's been 60s albums like Sly and the Family Stone. Their first album, I've never seen a copy that was near mint. He had a near mint copy. 45 Hendrix albums, 307 hair metal or 80s hard rock albums from just this first batch. 41 Pink Floyd albums, 95 Rolling Stones albums, over 100 Stones albums, 95 Zappa albums, or all the derivatives, Mothers of Invention, etc. And then 44 Led Zeppelin albums. Did I say 41 Pink Floyd albums? Some crazy stuff. So, okay, so we have a Alice in Chains. This is Jar of Flies and Sap. So I got to get the history down on this one. By the way, feel free to comment. We love comments, obviously. It helps the Facebook channel just look better, and I thank you if you're taking the time to watch. But if you can fill me in on any information I may say incorrectly, or you can add to. We don't get a lot of 90s records in, so a lot of this I'm learning as I see them. I can tell you everything about certain pressings of certain records from 1955 all the way up through 1989, but getting into this 90s stuff, we just don't handle a lot of it. We don't get a lot of opportunities to purchase this stuff, so we're having to take a lot of research to figure out what we have. And of course, we know how to buy and sell records, so we know how to figure them out. It just takes a little bit of time. Several Rage Against the Machine. Here's one where I've sold, you know, dozens and dozens of the 180 gram reissue of Rage Against the Machine. But I've never had OGs, and I listened to this earlier, and it is a 1992. Yeah, just don't see that too often. That actually just came back in print, the 180 gram reissue. The Offspring, Smash. I was just playing this. I had to listen to this. It's got Self-Esteem on it. The tracks go backwards or something. Whatever one, you've got to keep them separated, but the tracks on here are strange. I think they put them in the wrong order intentionally, maybe. I just noticed that earlier when I was trying, because I had heard that song and I was like, wow. So that's an OG. So the Zeppelin stuff. I was telling you about how he was keeping some stuff. So obviously, you know, he had a couple multiples like Zeppelin 2 and Zeppelin 1. We checked for the Robert Ludwig press of 2. He ended up keeping one copy, but it wasn't an RL pressing. But I think he kept like Led Zeppelin 4. Nothing like any other collection, I'd be like, man, you can't keep that stuff. We got to have it. This collection, I'm like, sure, you can keep Led Zeppelin 4 and House of the Holy, or whatever he kept. I'm not for sure, because at this point, those are common records, which technically they kind of are, but y'all know the demand for Led Zeppelin albums, so we're like, sure, because he's got stuff like this in here. He's got Robert Plant, Fate of Nations, 1993 UK press, which I could take a waiting list on this since I've been selling records, and the list would be this long of people wanting to purchase this record. So this will be a hot commodity Thursday night. I'm pretty sure it's in really good condition. Let me take a look at what we got here. Original inner sleeve. Oh yeah, it's maybe played once or twice. Well, we have an ultrasonic cleaner, by the way. We have an iSonic, and our record guy, John, he's a professional. That's why we have him on staff. He cleans these things, he examines them. We don't put out anything without telling you if there's a flaw with it. And if we happen to overlook something, you know, satisfaction guarantee on anything you purchase from us. Wow, this is stuff here that I'm like, I have to keep this, but I'm not going to. I'm letting my emotions of rare Led Zeppelin records, or in this case, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. Oh, I thought this was a gatefold. It is 2 LP, it's not a gatefold though. I already looked at this thing. It's nice. No Quarter, Jimmy Page, Robert Plant. This is a US, I believe. This is a 1994 US pressing. I'm getting dizzy. Hope I don't fall this chair. Coverdale Page, here's another one on my Grail list. I've never held one of these. I've seen them online and stuff, but this has a made in England. Looks like it's a UK press. And that's the thing about these 90s records. So kind of a quick story while I'm showing a few of these. This guy, he pretty much said, like a lot of record stores, he walked into his record shop in the 90s and it pretty much overnight converted to CDs. And he was like, man, this isn't cool. That's what he told the record store owner. He's like, I still got to get vinyl. I'm just not into these compact disc. And the guy was like, well, I can always special order stuff for you. I think this is kind of like a summarization of the story. So he ordered and purchased records all through the 90s. Here's a Walking in the Clarksdale, another Jimmy Page, Robert Plant. This is another U.S. 1998. 1998. This guy bought this thing new. I mean, this isn't something he bought at a record show. He bought this new in 1998. I don't know if he had it special ordered or what, or it was just he happened to find it in a shop. Those are so hard to find. I didn't promote those enough right then. One thing, we have a whole crate over here to go through, but those albums there, I've never even seen them. And like I said, we purchased a lot of records. This thing's in shrink wrap. Battle of Los Angeles has Guerrilla Radio on it. Probably my favorite Rage Against the Machine song. This is a nice copy cover. I hadn't really inspected the vinyl, but if it's anything like the cover, it's in shrink wrap with hype sticker. And this is a 1999. I'm assuming at first glance all these are OG first pressings, and if they're not, I'm gonna be surprised. Some of them, like the Nirvana albums, they were 91. Like he had a copy of Nirvana Nevermind. They were 91 pressings, but they were like German or UK. He wasn't able to get the US version at the time, or he didn't think that was later. That would be a big difference in hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on some things. But hey, check this out. Limp Bizkit, Significant Other. Limp Bizkit stuff, once again, I mean, I've only ever seen it on bootlegs. 1999, this is definitely a U.S. first press, Limp Bizkit, Significant Other. I've checked the disc on those. They're very nice. That'll be up for grabs. Fish, the story of the Ghost. This is sealed. It looks like a U.S. press from 98. It is sealed. It's never been opened. Fish. These are just some I pulled out that were like, I can't believe I'm even seeing this right now. And I used for the hot picture. We call it a hot picture, hot post on Facebook. POD, Murdered Love. POD, this is from 2012, which I think is I don't know if it's ever even repressed. POD, Murdered Love. The grunge stuff. So tonight, Thursday night, when we're having this sale, when we're offering these for sale, we've been calling it the grunge night because I kind of, for the sale last Thursday night, I pulled out a lot of 90s stuff, but I saved all the grunge, which you're going to be seeing here in a minute, and what's in the rest of this crate. It's going to be offered Thursday night. So a lot of Pearl Jam, and I'll try to recall. So I've got Pearl Jam Versus here. I've got a US press of 10, but there's some other stuff in the back like No Code. It's an OG. Some of their later stuff that may be even harder to find than these. I just used the Versus and 10 being their biggest albums, but there's a live album back there I've never seen before. Presidents of the United States of America. This is sealed. Sealed. What year did this come out? I don't know. So it's in the 90s, but Presidents of the United States of America. Sealed. Unbelievable. Just don't see this stuff. I mean, we sell reissues of it. And some of the stuff I've never seen reissues of. Like Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray's 1997. Floored. The REM stuff, which I'll show both of these at the same time. The REM stuff, we've already knocked out some of it last Thursday night. I just found another batch of some of the 80s albums here. Still highly requested stuff Murmur and Green. But we had Out of Time. We had that other album that was like 1999. It was sealed. It brought a few $100s at auction. But there's another 6 REM albums. I don't know what we'll have ready for Thursday night, but just to kind of show you some of the stuff that's still left in this collection. I'm just showing Grails, and we've already sold some Grails from some artists like REM, but if you're just looking for some of those common albums, but are still hard to get right now, we've got you. I've never had one of these before, and I didn't realize they made it on vinyl up until a few years ago, because I remember having the CD when I was younger in my early discovery days of Led Zeppelin. But this is Led Zeppelin. They did a compilation called Early Days and Later Days. This is the Early Days, the best of Led Zeppelin Volume 1, 2 disc, $19.99. It's sealed. The price is at $19.99. That's the year it came out. That is sealed though, very cool. We got some strong Zeppelin fans. Stronger than me because they have some insane stuff they've bought. Ozzy, this is actually not from, this exact record isn't from the Birmingham Collection, but I know there's some Ozzy in there and I can't find the crate. Just like there's no Pink Floyd in this video. I couldn't find, we got crates. Well, y'all can't see it in the video, but we've got crates and crates stacked up in the back of this, from this collection, and I couldn't, it's a time crunch trying just to get these things out to photograph them, but I know there's a batch of Ozzy in there, and I know there's a Randy Rhoads tribute album, and there's a copy of Ultimate Sin, but this is another one we just picked up from another collection, so I thought I'd grab it just to let you know there is going to be some Ozzy and Black Sabbath. Will it be in there Thursday night? Probably. If I'm showing you a record right now, it's definitely going to be in the show Thursday night. What's to come? Who knows? And plus, we're going to be showing stuff from this collection on Tuesday and Wednesday, too. A lot of the 70s classic rock and 80s hard rock and classic rock. Check this out. Now, this may be one of the more expensive records sold Thursday night. I'm trying to think about what's all in here. But this is an OG first pressing from 2000 of Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water Limp Biscuit, and it's signed. This is yeah, there's some people who you're probably watching right now. You're like, dadgummit, Chad. But that's gonna go, I hope that goes to a good home. It will. Prodigy, the Fat of the Land. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know a lot about Prodigy, the Fat of the Land, but some people seen this when I did a little teaser video the other night when we were live. And there's been people like, why don't you go ahead and put up that Prodigy. So this must be pretty tough to get. I mean, it came out in 97. Just because of that, I mean, it could be anything that came out in vinyl in 97 is going to be hard to get, especially on an LP. But that's been heavily requested. Now, we're getting into some of my favorite stuff here. Man, do I want to keep this. This has a Burden in My Hand on it. Soundgarden, Chris Cornell, of course. This thing is super nice too. I'm going to give you an examination of the covers. I don't want to start going into details of the vinyl because we hadn't ultrasonically cleaned everything, but this here just looks nice. If the cover's any indication, this is probably a top copy. 2 LP gatefold, of course. This came out in 1996. Down on the upside, I thought this was pretty neat because I've sold a Blue Million of the 180 gram reissues, but this appears to be a 1994 U.S. press of the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. And I didn't even know this was originally pressed on vinyl. I had assumed the reissues we've been selling, and we've sold a lot of them, were like the first time, a lot of those 90s soundtrack, first time ever on vinyl. But I didn't realize there had actually been an OG press of this. Really cool. So that will be probably a soundtrack Grail for somebody, or maybe just a Grail in general. Probably the most popular Rage Against the Machine album. Fans may argue that, but it does have Bulls on Parade, which is by far their most popular song. I looked at the disc on this. It's nice. Best I remember. Maybe that was another Rage. But I think that's the third Rage, and there may be one more back there. I really can't remember. Soundgarden. We're going to check the disc on this. I wish Some of these I'm just now finding out were pressed on colored vinyl. Like, I mean, I knew this was pressed on colored vinyl, but some of those other albums, like Sugar Ray, I have no idea. It may be colored vinyl. I hadn't even looked yet. But this is the gold disc, or orange, whichever you consider that. It is 2 LP. This thing looks pretty nice. This is out of print right now on new vinyl. Of course, it has Spoon Man and Black Hole Sun, Fell on Black Days. This is a great album. But this is out of print right now. This is out of print, and the 180 gram reissues of this are crazy. I mean, they're what, $150? Top money for a sealed one. This is an OG. Well, here we go. It's definitely pressed in the 90s. I don't know if this is a first batch, or I'm not for sure exact. Orange vinyl, it may be. I'm gonna we'll run all the numbers for you and let you know the night we're selling it. Some of y'all may already know, but that's got to be it's definitely a 90s press. Just like this one here. Screaming Life EP. This has the Sub Pop website at the bottom, which I think right off the bat, and I know for the Nirvana albums, that tells me it's not a first press, but it's still probably a 90s press. Screaming Life, Soundgarden. In shrink wrap. Shrink wrap's about to come off. It almost came off when I was taking the original sleeve off of it. But Pantera. Now this is special because it has the original first cover on it. This came out in 1994. Far Beyond Driven, with the very pretty cover there. Very gory. Pantera, Far Beyond Driven. That's going to be on somebody's wish list for sure. And this here, my friend Seth. Y'all all know Seth. We give him a hard time on our shows. I think he wants this. He's probably mad I'm showing it right now, but some people already know we had it. But this is Tom Petty's Greatest Hits. And this is the 1993 Holland press. Now, I know the 180 gram reissue, the cover don't look like this. The one we've sold literally hundreds of, the 180 gram reissue of this, we've sold hundreds of them. I've never seen this before. I had a friend in high school when I first started selling records. He was wanting this. And I was like, man, that's an expensive record. It was expensive back then. This is kind of before the big vinyl revival. And I know this is very difficult to get. It's Holland, but I don't know if they even pressed it in the U.S. I don't know. I've only ever seen, or they're only ever listed overseas in Holland, or, you know. Cool thing about this guy's collection, he went to hundreds of concerts, and a lot of these records have little bonus items stuck down in them. Sometimes we're not even mentioning it. You know, some of these, you know, $200 and $300 records, it's not like we're gonna pull out these concert stubs and sell them separately. We're just gonna leave them in there for you. That Jar of Flies, the Alice in Chains, it has an original concert stubs stuck down in it. And there's some others. Some people have found some backstage passes. They're like, hey Chad, this had a backstage pass in it. And I'm like, it's yours. Kind of little bonus item, especially for some of these grails like this. Another one. We have a waiting list for the 180 gram reissue. No Doubt Tragic Kingdom. This may be colored vinyl, is it? No, this is white vinyl. There's at least one more record in here. This is 1995. I'm pretty sure this is a US OG, No Doubt Tragic Kingdom. But yeah, that's another one. Man, it's like the Matchbox 20. We've sold bukus of the reissues. That tells you the demand here for this. Some people just want the $25, $30 reissue. Some people will love to have the $200 OG or whatever that record brings. I don't know if it's 100 or 400. I really don't know. Uh-oh. I have trouble pronouncing this. System of a Down, Toxicity. I think I finally got it down. At one time, I was saying Toxic City. Y'all got to excuse me. I say a lot of goofy things when I'm selling records. But, yeah, this thing, I remember looking at this. This was nice. This is an OG. I think I've already checked this one. 2001 US. But, Another one. I've saved some of the big reissue. I think that's why I pulled these first for the first photos. I'm like, I'm pulling all these OGs that we have sold hundreds of reissues of, because if we've sold hundreds of reissues of something, that means the OG has to be in demand. Now this one, I hadn't run the numbers. It just, I can't, if this is a first press, I just can't believe it. I mean, this has to be extremely difficult to get. Linkin Park Hybrid Theory. I mean, it just has to be. But it feels and looks like an OG. I mean, I know it's not 180 gram reissue. I can tell you that, but I don't know if it's a 2004 or if it is a first press, but that is a grail for a lot of people. And here, we'll check the, well, actually we got one more record after this one, but here's one. Oh, and there's another thing, like the Tool Anima, the Tool album, Tool Anima we sold, it had the original hop stickers he saved stuck down in the jacket, which was a big deal. That was a big factor to let us know that was the first pressing. He did that with a lot of them. There's also a lot of hop stickers stuck down in the jacket that we're not even making note of, but purple vinyl, which I think that indicates a first press. Stone Temple Pilots purple on purple vinyl. I'm gonna go ahead, actually I'm gonna leave that outside of the jacket like I did earlier. But that's another indicator to let you know, hey, some of these are first presses. He kept the hop sticker. And an album like Tool that had been bootlegged and mostly bootlegged, those hop stickers really mattered. Pearl Jam. This is pretty neat. This is a I've already looked at this one, 1991 US OG, and it's nice. I mean, when the inner sleeve was turned that way, which I don't think it can fit the other way, but sometimes when you pull out records as a collector and the inner sleeves turned the right way, oh yeah, this thing was nice. It looks nice, and we hadn't even ultrasonically cleaned it, and y'all know the wonders that ultrasonic cleaner does. But that is a sample of 32 records. That's like a half of a crate. We usually, 50, 60 records are usually in a crate. And when we do a live Facebook show, there's usually 6 to 8 crates of vintage and 4 to a dozen crates of new vinyl. So that gives you the scope of Thursday night, the kind of records we're going to be offering. And this was half of one of the 90s crates. So like I said, I've left behind other Soundgarden and Pearl Jam albums back there, but I didn't want to weigh down the post and video with Pearl Jam. Kind of give you the scope. We've got everything from Limp Bizkit to Linkin Park, and you know, this is the 90s stuff that's difficult to get. And artists that have had prolific careers like Neil Young, who started in the mid-60s. We have their albums all the way through the 90s, like Tom Petty, who started in the mid-70s. We have some of his albums that was released in the 90s. Led Zeppelin, which wasn't around in the 90s, but Jimmy Page and Robert Plant was. And we have their No Quarter album and the Coverdale Page album. Same thing with like Frank Zappa and Pink Floyd. You know, we have the Division Bell, Sealed, OG Press. We have, well, that's a more common album, but like Momentary Lapse of Reason, and what's something else? We have the Pulse box set, you know, some of the 90s Pink Floyd releases. I wish I could think of some of the artists. Well, like Bob Seger, another one that has just a ton of albums, but we had his greatest hits, the 1994 OG press. So if you can think of an artist that, you know, maybe even started in the 60s or 70s, not only do we have all their OG albums, like we have Neil Young Harvest OG and Into the Gold Rush, or After the Gold Rush, and you know, his self-titled. We have Led Zeppelin Physical Graffiti and Led Zeppelin 1 back there, but we do have some, this guy collected their albums all the way up through the 90s too, which a lot of collections, a lot of people who have original collections from the 60s and 70s they had as a kid, they stopped buying records in the 80s. You know, they went to cassettes or CDs. But that's why you never see the artist's complete discography. I'll be like, Van Halen, it'll stop at 5150. They'll never have OU 812. They'll definitely never have Balance or A Different Kind of Truth. A lot of people bought those on CDs. Not this guy. He bought them on vinyl. That's what makes this collection so special. So just amazing to see this. We're going to offer it for sale. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. We have weekly Facebook sales where we offer all these amazing records for sale first to you through Facebook. You can purchase on your phone live and we ship to you. We have a great staff here. my mom, who helps run the store during the day because I'm out traveling, and then we have Doug, who's the logistics manager, Tanner, Seth, Ed, John. We have about 9 people here now, and it takes every one of us to get these shows done week after week and to get the records to you. But we enjoy it. This is Sunday night. This video is going to go live, and I'm going to go out and even buy some more collections before the sale Thursday. We're going to be selling records Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and possibly Friday night. I have to speak at a graduation, and if I can get back down here in time, I may be wearing a suit and tie, but we're going to go live and sell records Friday night most likely, because Saturday night I'm going to see Paul McCartney in North Carolina. So that's an all-day and night trip, or we're staying the night, so definitely can have a record sale. Saturday night, normally when we will be having a record sale, I'll be watching Paul McCartney. Excuse me, sometimes I can't talk. That's it. Thanks for watching, and come see us Thursday night. You're going to get a chance to buy these records. It's going to be fantastic. We will see you then. Thanks for watching.